Hello everyone, I'm here to do the summary on chapters 9 and 10 in our text. Excuse me, I've got this cold that everybody seems to have, so I've got an itchy throat. So in chapter 9, you have the key points would be the delivery type of speech, your voice, and your body language. Starting off with your body language, if you're very stiff and you're like don't know what you're doing, even if you are nervous about speaking like me, if you have very stiff body language, people are going to be focused on that and not what you're delivering your speech. If your voice is way too loud or way too soft, they can't hear you, or you kind of make them shy away because it's so loud and boisterous. It's distracting from your speech. Then you have the several different types of speeches that you can deliver. You've got your impromptu, which is no preparation, you're on the spot. I would attribute it to like a presidential candidate, answering questions at debates. You know, they don't have a teleprompter or manuscripts, they just have to answer it on what they know. You've also got a conversational type speech where it's like you're sitting down with your best friend and just giving them information that you've learned or you know from experience. You've got manuscript type speeches, which you will see politicians or presidents do when they're addressing the nation. They have to read from a teleprompter. News broadcasters do it. It takes a lot of practice because you don't want to seem like you're just sitting there reading word for word for word. You want to show some emotion, just know where your proper pauses are. Next would be something that I didn't know was the impromptu speech. I'm not really sure why I didn't know it. It just never dawned on me. I knew that politicians read off of teleprompters and that, you know, you could have just a conversational type speech with a friend, but the impromptu, I just never dawned on me that sometimes there's no preparation. You just have to tell what you know when you're asked a question. The reason why these are so important is if you go into a speech where you're supposed to be prepared and you're not prepared to know the knowledge ahead of time in case you're asked a question that you don't have note cards on. It can ruin your entire speech. You can lose your audience. And you have to know how to keep your voice a certain level. You don't want to be too loud or too quiet, and you want to keep your body language very relaxed. You want to reach out to your audience. You don't want to be stiff and informal and just kind of push them away. That defeats the whole purpose. You can use these aspects in everyday life. If you're sitting there talking to your employees, for example, if you sound weak and timid, they're not going to listen to you. But if your voice is not too loud, but affirmative, authoritative, they'll be more likely to listen to you. If you're leading a group for a group study or a group project where you don't even have to do a speech, if your body language is tense and uncomfortable, you can make your fellow people very, very uncomfortable, and then that could affect their part of what you're doing. Okay, for chapter 10, the main idea of chapter 10, the whole chapter, is visual aids. Visual aids are speech gold, I guess you could say. There's several different types, but some more commonly used ones are PowerPoints, charts, and objects. Like if you're doing a speech or a presentation on baseball or baseball players, you can have a baseball as your object. For your charts, if you're wanting to do the DUI rates of a state compared to other states, you know, you have it's 20% higher in this state, 20% lower in this state. That's what your charts are good for. The PowerPoints would be more for if you have a very big subject that you want to talk about. You can do each individual point, and it'll help for your readers or for your audience to read it, and it helps them retain the information. One that I didn't know about was the Prezi presentation. It sounds very, very interesting, but to me, it can be distracting because if you're trying to keep your audience's attention and you're having to constantly go back to your computer and click and move and get it to where each point is, you're having to take away because you're going to step behind a podium or step out of the picture or the video that could be taken, and that could be distracting, which could tank your speech. You could lose your audience immediately with it. Visual aids are important because it gives you something to look at. It has been proven that visual aids help your audience retain the information. Visual aids can be useful in your personal life in ways that, like if you go see your doctor and they're like, well, your cholesterol is at this level. This is where normal people are. This is where people with, higher cholesterol are. And you're right here in the middle. We need to get you down here with normal to get you healthier. So they're very, very effective, even outside of speeches. In the lectures and the additional information, it tells how visual aids are there to reinforce a point and to help the audience remember the content that you are giving them. Thank you, and everyone have a good day.